This vehicle is the Carthago C Line 4.2. It is, in my opinion, a very good vehicle for the full-timer because it's under 7 meters in length. Unfortunately, it costs around 100,000 euros. Let's have a look at the dimensions to start off with. So it's 685 long, 227 wide, 289 high. Now, its current condition, it's 3,105 kilos, but you can put it up to 4,500 kilos should you so require, which would give you 1,395 kilos of payload. Where are you going to find so much heavy material? Just keep it on 3.5 tons, and that way you can drive on your post 1996 license if you've got one, but you've got a pre 1996 license. There are reasons to keep it under 3.5 tons. There's certain roads you can't use. You have to pay tolls in certain countries if you're above 3.5 tons, and places where you do have to pay tolls, such as Italy or even Switzerland for that matter, it costs more if you're over 3.5 tons. So keep it relatively light if you can. Right, the garage. In the garage we have got this here, which is the electrics. You open it up here, and so you've got your charger there, you've got your fuse box, you've got other things. That curtain around there in the inside, that is your access to the garage if you don't want to come out to get something which is in there. I don't like this bit at the back though. The bit that sticks out, this is sort of wasted space as far as I can see. And I know you're going to say, well, that's not much space, but you know, it's a motorhome. Every centimetre counts, and for me, bang, use it, because when it comes to parking, you can't you cannot make any allowances. Round here you've got this enormous garage door as well, so you can get your bikes out one side or the other side, doesn't matter wherever you're parked. Don't have to worry about that. Here we've got the gas. Now the gas, I believe personally that you should get refillable solution. In this case, the gas door, the gas comes out like this, and you can replace it. Now it's useful to have two if you're going skiing or something like that. Now temperature here is around now, I don't know, -8, something like it. It hasn't gone over -4. It's been the warmest it's been last 3 days. I've used 1/4 of one gas tank, and I'm really warm inside, so that gives an idea. Maybe it would last 8 days warm, but this is a bigger vehicle and maybe you want it hotter, so maybe it won't. The Truma heater, it's not the one you have here, but I once asked the classic Truma heater, which is now being used for about 20 years or so, that will last on full blast 69 hours with one standard gas tank. So anyway, if you're going off skiing or whatever, but of course you can just get yourself an electric hookup and use electricity. That's, I think, the most sensible option. This shows the double floor and what you can actually get in there. They have 3 crates, well, in fact, one at the back as well, but 3 crates we can see. That's each holding 9 litres of water, so 27 litres of water. That probably should do a couple for 10 days or more. I don't know how much you're drinking. You're supposed to drink 2 litres a day, it was said once, but there's evidence that you shouldn't be drinking 2 litres a day. That is outside the scope of this video. I may come to that later, but since I brought the subject up, the reason is if you're drinking too much, you may be losing electrolytes as a result, so you need to drink things with electrolytes in them, and it isn't necessary to drink so much water. Anyway, that's a different subject for another time, although I'm possibly unlikely to talk about too much about that, as I don't think I'm really qualified. Coming out here, we have another look at the double floor and what it does. There you go. Now this space has been created by a seat which is inside, which we'll have a look at in a moment. Now I think that seat's a waste of space. It does, however, give this bit of space here for use. as storage. Anyway, you can make your mind up about that once I get in there. 280 amp gel batteries here. You could of course replace that with lithium or something else. This vehicle has 170 litres of fresh water and 150 of wastewater. So that should last you some time. Now coming in, we've got this double floor, and I shall open it up now, and you can see what you can store in there. Quite a lot, in my opinion. There we have a drawer for shoes. So you come in, take your shoes off while sitting here. You can even get a mat to put down there, and your shoes go straight in there. I tend to leave my shoes here on this bit here. The reason for that is so I don't sort of bring all sort of bits and what have you into the van. Well, that's the theory anyway. I think the subject of wearing shoes in van is something maybe worth discussing in a video later. Here we have more stuff under the floor, storage there, and it's heated as well. You can see, should you have something in there which needs to be heated, and there we've got access to the water. The bed is 147 times 210. Now the vehicle's 235 wide, so that shows the walls are less than 12 centimeters thick, with other things which are actually used. Now, but despite that, it's still very well insulated. Should you require access to the garage, you get into the garage right here. You never know, you might have left something in there. Here we have a wardrobe, and there access to the water. Here's a spice rack which slides in and out like that. And here we have a rather curious thing which Carthago has called a dressing room. This thing comes out, toilet door. So I shall go into the toilet. I shall pretend I'm getting dressed. This comes out like that. Oops. And oops, can't remember how it goes. There we go. There. And this creates a dressing room, as it's been called. I'm going to show you in the mirror, and you'll probably see it better like that. There you go. Got a bit of space here for dressing so other people can't see you getting dressed. Well, that's the idea anyway. Is it necessary? Well, it might be if you've got people sleeping in that bed there. If you don't, then it probably isn't necessary. Now, on the subject of that bed up there, I think the bed, however, is a bit of a waste of space. Unless you don't want to sleep with the person you're married to or the person you're in a relationship with, or alternatively, if there's more than two of you. So in that case, if you are two and you sleep together, then that bed is probably a waste of space, because what it does is this: it takes away around 25 centimeters of headroom, which when you're driving, let's face it, you're driving all the time, that is something, you stand up, you're using that chair to sit around the table, as it is now. You're sitting around the table, drinking tea or having your dinner or whatever. You probably want that space. You prefer to have that space which you will use every single day, rather than the off chance that once a year somebody comes on holiday with you. So think about having that one there removed. That is what I would do anyway. Other than that, as I said, I'm very much in favour of this vehicle. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention this. I did mention it earlier. This chair here, I think this is a waste of space. We saw earlier the storage that gives, but is it necessary? I believe it isn't necessary, and I would have that. Well, you can't really have it removed. It's not like the bed, because that's rather integral. I think Carthago ought to think about having that taken away. You know, there's nothing wrong with space inside the vehicle. It makes it roomier, it gives an impression that it's bigger, but if you put things in which aren't necessary, it makes it clutter, and it with the clutter there's too much, and it doesn't have the same effect. I think that chair is unnecessary, and easily, even if you have got people in both beds, you can easily still get 4 people around the table there. You've got 1 seat there, 1 seat there, and 2 up there. Indeed, there you can probably even get 3 people around the table in comfort. There's the kitchen. This thing here goes there. That's a clever place for it. I think that is also a cutting board, but if I'm wrong, no doubt somebody will correct me. Got a coffee maker here. If you don't like DeLonghi coffee, that's unfortunate, but this is Nespresso Club. My opinion of Nespresso is somewhat negative. I don't think it tastes very good, but it's got some fantastic marketing behind it. The marketing is utterly incredible, particularly their shops. If you want to see something branding at its best, see a Nespresso shop. There's nothing, and they're the same absolutely everywhere, well, at least that I've seen anyway. Anyway, that thing here goes up and down should you so require. I personally, I wouldn't want that there. I'd just rather have one of these €15 Italian cafetiere. You put it on the gas, and I think the coffee tastes much better. Of course, you can then choose the sort of coffee you're using rather than the capsules that come from Nespresso. Now, look, let's have a look in here. So you've got your rubbish bins. You've got 2 of them. So you've got one for recyclables and the others for non-recyclables. It's clever that even in motorhomes they're now thinking about such things. We've got space here, deep drawers, and of course on this side as well. There's plenty of space in there. And also space under the fridge. It's got one of these fat fridges, which I don't agree with myself, but that's the one. It's better to have these thin ones. In fact, I want small fridges. You know, the bigger fridges, the more gas it takes to run. So that's why you're better off with a smaller fridge, in my opinion. Furthermore, you know, you're living in the van, unless you're sort of, well, you might be going that ski trip I mentioned earlier, which takes a couple of weeks, in that case, yeah, you might want to stock up on food, or certain types of food anyway. Alternatively, you might be living in the United States, in which case you really can go out into the middle of nowhere and not have access to food. So there's another reason to have a big fridge. But for most of us, I think that as we travel, I like to buy fresh food on a daily basis. Okay, when the weather's like this, I don't really have access to the fruit and vegetables, which I have, for example, in Italy when the weather is better. But all the same, that's how I tend to eat. And it's very good for your health as well. Let's have one last look around this outstanding motorhome, which I think really would be very good for the full-timer. You want to retire to something like this, just the job. I mentioned gas earlier, and I do want to say how well these systems work. I've got this Truma iNet up here. It is outstanding the way it works. It is really, I cannot say how impressed I am so much. It is brilliant. It is really, it's so warm. I have now, when I go out the van, I put the temperature down. At night I have it on 14, and it's still really warm inside. Now this is a bigger van than one I'm driving at the moment, but all the same, you know, it's the same system, and I'm sure that this wouldn't take much more gas to heat up. Anyway, I want to keep repeating that about Truma and the system, because I'm so impressed at the moment. There you have it. This vehicle, a great one for the full-timer.